This episode is proudly sponsored by Bisect Hosting. Check out the link in the description and use code CODE25 for 25% off your very own server.
You know, I always seem to be running out of power. So between the last couple episodes, I have upgraded my induction matrix here to hold capacity of 102 GFE. Right now it has 12.6867. It's going down now. And this is running. Of course, we have our polonium. We have everything going here to make this work. We reprocessed a whole bunch of fissile fragments. And we just always seem to be running out of power. One of the biggest issues I have is being able to get enough uranium to actually power this thing. We're using up so much of it in the world. I've had the digital miner running. It's actually running right back there right now. We'll take a little trip over. Yeah, we have a little bit more uranium this time. But yeah, the issue is I'm always running out of power. I need to find a way to make some more power. So there's a couple ways we can actually get ourselves more power. One of which being industrial foregoing and its laser drilling option that it has. It requires the laser mining research, and we can actually use a lime laser lens to turn certain things in certain biomes to uranium ore. I'm not 100% sure exactly how that one works yet, but it requires two different researches we have to have. So the first one being industrial foregoing. This one requires 23 knowledge stars. And then on top of that, we need the laser mining, which requires 15. Oh, that's a lot. That is really a lot. So what I think our best bet is the next step in Mekanism generators, which is a fusion reactor. So a fusion reactor requires a couple different things. The fusion reactor itself is made from some pretty basic stuff. We need the fusion reactor controller, which requires a few control circuits and some frames. The frames themselves require these polonium pellets that we have over there and some atomic alloys and steel casings, all easy stuff to get. Just a little bit of black opal for the steel casings. The fusion reactor port requires another ultimate control circuit, which is 2 echo gems, sadly. And then we need we don't actually need the logic adapters, but that's pretty much it. The fuel for the fusion reactor, which is this DT fuel, which is deuterium and tritium. Now, we can make both of these DT fuel items from just normal stuff around the world, one of which being we need lithium. So what we've done here is we've actually added another thermal evaporation tank. And so we had this first one here for the brine because we were needing to make sodium chloride for one of these processes here. And let's see, let's find it here. Yeah, so here we have our sodium and our chlorine. We were using sodium to cool the reactor, all that kind of stuff. So these are easy to make. But what we're doing is we're actually piping the excess brine over to this one here. Now this one takes the brine input and outputs liquid lithium. Then we take the liquid lithium and run it through a rotary condensator and deconcentrate it down to just regular lithium. Lithium is then pumped into another solar neutron activator, which is kind of expensive to make, but they're not horrible. And then we take this lithium and turn it into tritium. We take this tritium, we run it over here to another chemical infuser. But first, we need deuterium. So deuterium can be made from heavy water. So what we've done here is we've taken 4 electric pumps into some water here, nothing too fancy there. We're just powering them with some thermo generators. We take these electric pumps and we put the filter upgrade in them. And this separates heavy water from regular water. The filter upgrade's real cheap to make. And so then we're pumping in basically heavy water into another electrolytic separator, and it makes oxygen and deuterium. So then we're just taking the deuterium, running it into here. So we have tritium and deuterium, and we're making DT fuel, which you see right here. You see it kind of increasing there in the top. And so this DT fuel is what we need to power a fusion reactor. Now, a fusion reactor is pretty small. The fusion reactor directly can make power, which is what we're going to do. You can also water cool the reactor and make steam as well to power a steam turbine. But I don't think we're going to mess with that right now. That just seems like a little more than I really want to kind of get into. But, you know, all in all, we just need a lot of antimatter. We have 2385 in there, almost 2400. And we use this to create our enchanted golden apples, along with a few other items as well. And so having the more of that, the better, because a lot of people are wanting these enchanted golden apples. And yeah, we're kind of running low. Golden apples are easy to make, but you know, we need a whole lot of this, these enchanted golden apples, because a lot of the players are wanting these now, because these are easily the best food in the game. And so what we're going to do is we're going to increase our ability to make antimatter with this guy right here. So here in my inventory, I have all the stuff that I believe we need to make our fusion reactor. Now, we have to have a way to start it, and there's a lot of things that go on with the fusion reactor. But the first thing we need to do is at least lay this thing out and build it. This is built in a 5x5 configuration, just like so, except mine is that one. And then we have to basically fill this in, and then we just basically keep building up from here, and it turns kind of into a sphere. So I'll bring you right back as soon as I get this thing built. And boom, there we go. Okay, we have our fusion reactor right now. Now this is capable of producing, let's see, passive generation 400 KFE a tick. Depends on your injection rate of the fuel. We can turn that up to like 5. 800 KFE a tick. This will actually make more than what this is here. That's the passive generation. We can adjust a lot of these things to make it a little bit different. So there's a couple of things we need to actually make this thing work. First of all, we need that DT fuel that we have right over here. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually pipe that down and into this here on one of these ports. One of these ports is going to be input. The other one's going to be output of power. And so we'll grab our configurator. Where's it at? Here we go. Grab our configurator, and we'll turn this one to output. So now this one's going to output the power. And then we'll take this one here, and we're going to make this one the input. So we're basically going to run a cable over to the production area of the DT fuel. All right, so now we should be able to look in this here. We have to go up to our controller, and we should see, yes, we have DT fuel. Now, I know the injection rate is all relative, so we're going to start off low. So in order to start this thing, basically I just have to supply this thing with fuel, and it will sit there and generate power with the DT fuel. Now, there are two ways to start this kind of machine. One of which being through the laser focus matrix, where we basically take a laser and a laser amplifier. We'll put these down here, and I'll show you. We'll take the laser amplifier. We're going to put it right here. Oh, we got to rotate it the correct direction. Put it right here. There we go. Okay, now it's facing the right direction. And then what we have to do is we have to take a laser, and we have to pump a laser into it. And so what this is going to do is you can see it's actually already firing, and we don't want it to do that. We want to set the redstone detection to normal. And now what this is going to do is this is actually going to charge up. You see it charging there? After I supply this laser with power, which we have some power cables. We're actually going to come directly off of the, there we go, just like that. And it is being supplied with 800 KFE. All right, very good. So our output is good. Yeah, 800 KFE, we are supplying our laser now. Our laser is firing into the laser amplifier, but the laser amplifier is just absorbing the energy from the laser. Now, like I said, this thing has to get to a certain temperature before it will ignite. You see the plasma is kind of heating up there. That's just the general, plasma that's being generated by it, just from any other heat. That plasma came from when the laser was firing in. You can see it going down now. So the heat of this thing is dropping down. So what we need to do is we need to heat this thing up to a certain temperature. Once it gets to a certain temperature, it will light off and basically, start making power. So we're going to go ahead and disconnect. Well, actually, this is not running because we don't have any polonium, because the polonium is generated by the solar neutron activator, which I have set to, set that to normal, so it won't make anything. And this guy's set to normal. Okay, so everything's set to normal here. So if I run the reactor, actually, let's turn this guy on. Yeah, there we go. So this is going to process my waste. So I'm not making any polonium is my point here. So this guy will not run and will not consume power. So our only power consumption are our normal items in the rest of the setup here. So we're outputting 4 KFE a tick, and we are charging up our laser amplifier. Now, I'm going to go ahead and run the fission reactor here a little bit, and I should have enough fuel to run it maybe for a little bit. Yeah, I got some fuel in there. And we're going to charge up our induction matrix here, because we are going to need a ton of power. Yeah, input 917 KFE a tick. Excellent. So we're climbing up. We need a ton of power for the laser amplifier, and we are also going to charge this guy up with a little bit of heat. So our heat is going to come from 2 sources. The heat is going to come from the laser amplifier, number 1. But number 2, we are going to borrow this guy right here. And we are going to actually heat this casing up with a resistive heater. Now, currently it's on 40 FE a tick. Let's go ahead and hook it up here. All right, so either way, our laser and our laser amplifier are working. This is currently, set this to 10 KFE a tick, and it is going to start heating this guy up. We'll go and look at our heat here. Yeah, our plasma temperature is heading up. Now, in order to actually ignite this thing, we need to get this up to 10 million Kelvin. So right now it's at 40 kilokelvin. We need to go up to the next one. We need to get up to 10 million Kelvin. So we got to get this thing hot. Now, you can do it all with a resistive heater. So this is at 10. Let's see. Let's take this up to 1 million FE a tick. Can this supply? Yeah, but I'm going to run out of power pretty quick, which is okay. So let's check our heat here. Yeah, so we're already at 1 million Kelvin. We need to get up to 10. So we can do this by getting most of the way there with the resistive heater, and then we can fire off our laser amplifier. And we're going to get creative here. We're going to make another laser, actually. And we're going to put the other laser right here. And then we're going to feed this laser. Excellent. So now we have 2 lasers firing into this. This should start increasing a little bit better. Yeah, we're 25 million FE right now. I don't remember how high we have to get. We're going to probably run out of power before that, but we'll have a ton of power stored up in this. So basically what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to remove one of these lasers. And then if I trigger this with redstone, it will pulse all of that energy into the reactor. Now, in order to actually get it started, we need a starting component, which is one of these right here. It's a holarium or holram, something like that. I'm not really sure. But what you make, these are easy to make. They just require you put some gold dust into the metallurgic infuser with the carbon in it, and it'll make the holrams. They're pretty easy. It just requires 4 gold dust. So make one of those, and then you just put it into this machine here to charge it up with the DT fuel. So it's got 10 DT fuel in it, which is not very much. So we need to take this guy, and we'll put this guy in the main one here. All right, we are ready for reaction. So once this thing gets to 10 million Kelvin, basically, the fusion reaction will light off. I'm sorry, it's not 10 million, it's 400 million. The energy required to start the reaction requires 400 million FE. Oh, okay. So yeah, we can get this guy up here to temperature. We're gonna get him up pretty high, and then here in just a few minutes, I guess, as soon as we get it hot enough, we will get it to where we can actually start the reaction and get it producing power. And once it's lit off, as long as it has a constant supply of DT fuel, it will continue to run. And so this is actually a pretty efficient reactor. It just requires a lot to build it and a lot to keep it going. Once it's going, as long as it stays above the proper temperature, which is 400. As long as it stays above 400 million, it will continue to produce power. So keeping it at that temperature is going to be kind of tough. We have the resistive heater here, which will help us out, and it's still climbing in temperature. And as long as we keep that going, we will get this thing up and running. We can reduce this down once it is running because it will produce some of its own heat, but not enough to keep it going all the time. All right, so it's lit off. I fired the laser matrix, and of course I had walked away and stopped my recording, and then, I came back to let everything get charged up. But yeah, it is working now. We are creating, let's see, we are producing 189 million FE per tick, storing 400 million. Our heat is, 100 times hotter than the surface of the sun, but that's okay. I don't know how high this can get before it's a problem. But I'm not injecting at any sort of high rate. I am just at an injection rate of 2. So, okay, we're just going to kind of go with that. Oh no, so the induction matrix is a limiting factor here. I can only input and output 1.63. And that is with the induction providers. Now, I may upgrade these providers again to the next tier because I have 4 of them in there, so I can actually store more with the next one of the next tier ones up there. But the providers are what are really my holdup, I guess, here, more than anything else. Now, as for fuel, we have a good bit of fuel built up, but it is kind of chewing through it really quick. I'm not making it fast enough to make this completely self-sustaining. Now you can inject both deuterium and tritium into this thing separately. I think that's under the fuel. Yeah, you can actually inject them separately into this. I would need one more port, but I can actually use this resistive heater port here to do that. But I'm just not quite making it fast enough. Now, like I said, we still have 40 million in there. It will last a little while, but you can see how fast it's counting down there. It's using it up pretty quick. I can do more speed upgrades on this guy because I'm only at a 4. Yeah, let's make some speed upgrades real quick. All right, I think we got everything kind of settled out here after a while. The reactor is now responding to the information I'm putting into it for the fuel. So we'll take this down to 4. And then we'll see now, yeah, we should start dropping down in what we're producing. So right now we're producing 1.5 million FE a tick. Our heat is actually dropping down to where it's supposed to be as per this information here. And we are using the fuel like we are supposed to be. Yeah, so it's working really well. My issue is going to be deuterium. Producing enough of it. So I had to add some more pumps, electric pumps here with the filter upgrades, and I added a whole nother electrolytic separator, which is expensive to make, but I needed to make more deuterium. So you can see my deuterium is actually dropping down on the output side of this. Now I do have a bunch of these stored in tanks, so there's that. I got that going for me. So I have a little bit of a buffer room here. The output side is still climbing because it's pulling from the tanks and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's this is a new experience. I've never done this before. This is really cool. We're producing an absolute ton of power, which is really good. All right, so yeah, we're just we're letting this thing charge back up. We'll turn this stuff back on. This is exciting. We have officially made the maximum power generation system here within Mekanism. So we should be good on our power from now on. We have all kinds of cool things we can do with this power, mainly with something like the antiprotonic nuclear synthesizer. All kinds of stuff. We can take flowers, turn them to chorus flowers. I've showed you guys all this stuff before, but this is very exciting. I know that CWG was needing lapis, and I know you can create lapis by putting in blue wool into lapis blocks. So yeah, I'll let him know about that because he was in a struggle for some lapis. So I will let him know. And so we should be able to keep going. All right, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you tuning in. We'll be doing some more vault runs in the next episode. Don't worry. We haven't done any vault runs on a recording here for a little while. We've been doing some on stream with CWG and stuff in between, but we haven't done any for a little bit. So we'll get back onto those next time. Thank you guys so much. I will see you all on the next episode.